Now with today's sport, here's Laura.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Well, we'll start with football. And there were 4 games in the Premiership this afternoon. With Celtic and Rangers in action tomorrow, the focus was very much on the chasing pack. Let's take a look at the results. 4-1. There were 6 games in the Premier League this afternoon. Leicester are leading Arsenal 2-0 with less than 10 minutes to go. While there were wins for Burnley, Newcastle, Everton and a 1-1 draw between Tottenham and Sheffield United. In the early kick-off, a great result for Glasgow Warriors in the Pro 14 earlier. They beat Zebri 31-7 in Italy. It was and Olympic champion Katie Archibald said she is still a bit all over the place in training, but no longer throws her dummies out of the pram when she suffers dips in form. The button. But you won't, you'll stay here for 7 days.
Of course they will.
100%, 100%. No dummies out the pram.
Let's get the weather with Coulter.
Good evening. Now, it's not every 7 days that we get a feel-good sports story to talk about, but this week is the exception. Celtic and Rangers both won in their Europa League qualifiers this week, with the Parkhead side securing qualification early. And the recent success of both sides could improve Scotland's chances of making an impression in the Champions League, as the results have put Scottish football just 1 point away from being considered for 2 Champions League spots for the 2021-2022 season. But is all this good news for Scottish football, or just simply good news for the old firm?
It's good for the reputation of the game.
It's been a long time coming, really.
Angela, a Celtic fan, you must be ecstatic with the result this week.
I'm absolutely delighted, although I will say this was the night the question time was on and I missed the game. So I'm kind of broken-hearted as well. I know
we know you were on question. Okay.
So I've only just managed to see like a little bit of highlights and the 2 goals, but it was an outstanding. I mean, I'm right in saying this was Celtic's first win on Italian soil, the first time that we've done this away from home. Huge deal for Celtic fans. It's so heartbreaking when you go out of the Champions League, and we went out in the qualifying rounds of the Champions League. Obviously the Europa League's not quite got that prestige, but to be doing so well at this stage makes you think, oh, how far could Celtic go in the competition this year?
Are you happy for Rangers? Are you happy?
Yeah, I don't know if I would go that far, because it's just, I mean, I'm a Celtic supporter. I'm happy for my team, and I would say the same about Kilmarnock, because they had European football this year for I think the first time since a very long time ago under Steve Clarke. And you're kind of thinking, well, it's good that we've got more Scottish football teams in Europe. Would I go as far as to say that I'm supporting them all? That's just weird. You know, you're a football fan. You've got your own team. You're not supporting all the other teams. But it is good if it ends up that we get 2 Champions League spaces. Then I'm all for it. You know, I think it is good for Scottish football when we have more teams in Europe and they are all doing well.
Paul, do you think this is the difference between football fans and non-football fans? A non-football fan you tell this story to and they're like, oh, that's great that as many teams as possible are going through. To a football fan, it's like, no, I don't want them to do well. They need to be rubbish and I need to be good. Do you think that's a football thing?
I think, as a football fan, it's not enough for your team to have success. You want your rival not just to lose, but to be crushed and humiliated. That's what you look for. So when you look through, as a United fan, well, it's very hard to see United having actual success at the moment. But when they do win, I think, right, if City get beat, have Liverpool get beat, have they got beaten really well? And that's just not happening at the moment.
It must be exhausting. I've got to read
It's not exhausting, it's exciting.
It's exciting, sorry. See, I'm very happy that Scottish teams have done well. A tweet from an Aberdeen fan, where I'm from. I'm fed up hearing Thursday results are good for Scottish football. They are good for Celtic and Rangers only. Save the altogether beep. So I can't say that, but
yes, because them doing better will affect the coefficient, which then could get more teams within Champions League, more teams within Europa League.
It could be better for Aberdeen.
It could be better for Aberdeen. So,
but that's not coming into the equation, is it?
Because it's the football fan mantra.
Well, Aberdeen are not going to get into the Champions League.
I think they'll find their third.
Well, I mean, realistically, it's going to be Celtic and Rangers. Of course it is.
Maury, you're not a football fan. I'm going to come to you though to take it away from football. Can you imagine any other place that you would wish that you wouldn't want your colleagues to do well in something that you're not affected at all by?
Well, what Paul was just saying there in terms of it's about Celtic and Rangers goes back to the argument we had about politics earlier. And some of my friends' eyes glaze over when I speak about politics, and I have a kind of the reverse when people speak about football. But it's the same thing. So Paul was saying, the guy was saying earlier that we should have the Lib Dems and others in debates, but actually it's the same with Aberdeen. Aberdeen are the Lib Dems of politics.
Oh my word! Hopefully they don't clip that up for social media.
I'm not reacting to that. Let's move on that point. Now, a 55-year-old man, he'll be a baby boomer, won't he, took his 46-year-old girlfriend on a date this week, and it somehow became a huge news story. The man in question is film star Keanu Reeves. The woman is artist Alexandra Grant. Oh, and as you can see from the photo, she has grey hair.
So the reaction online, at least, was on one side extremely positive, saying how refreshing it is to see a famous older man dating a woman closer to his age. But others wondered why it's so rare that we see famous couples like this one. So, Keanu Reeves, I'll come to you first, Paul, if you don't mind. Were you aware of this story, and what do you make of the reaction?
I was aware of this story. Who couldn't be aware of this story?
Of course.
I was talking to Murray about this earlier. I find it very, very difficult to get moved and either enraged or feel positive about stories relating to people's relationships when they are clearly happy within those relationships. Mm-hmm. And I understand that we have an interest and a prurient interest in the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Therefore, this is something that we're drawn to and we want to know a bit more about it. I'm more interested to know how Keanu Reeves has got such dark hair. He looks remarkable. And beard.
This is the same thing as a lot of people have been shouting about. Over the years, Leonardo DiCaprio has become something of a running joke in that he seems to date younger women an awful lot. So he ages, and his girlfriends seem to stay the same age. So I think we can see briefly there was a protest, the climate change protest, a couple of months ago. I think we can see that sign possibly.
Banner? Or maybe not.
No, maybe not. No, maybe we can't. But it's the same sort of idea. And I'm always putting forward the idea in the newsroom, well, can't he date whatever age he likes?
Do you understand why it's a story, Angela?
No.
Apart from realising it wasn't Helen Mirren, who I thought it was to start with.
Yeah. I know. I think it's a really kind of boring. So there was one other relationship-y story, though, that came out this week, which was another Hollywood person, Emma Watson, Harry Potter actress. Now, she came out and said that she would describe herself as self-partnered rather than single. And apparently the difference here, I know it sounds very Gwyneth Paltrow, but the difference here is that if you're single, you're kind of available and still looking. Self-partnered means that you're single, but you're not really that interested. You're not really looking elsewhere. And I thought, I really relate to that. Now, I know you may be wondering how an advocate of self-partnering and not dating at work has come to be 6 months pregnant on your couch. And all I'll say is that I'm raising probably more questions than I'm giving answers here. But self-partnered, that's the way forward. I think it was brilliant.
Good job she doesn't work at McDonald's.
Murray, what do you make? Is there any sort of validity in this argument? Do you think that people should just generally date around their own age, or does love break all boundaries, in your opinion?
Well, the first thing I'm wondering about, does Leonardo DiCaprio's partner call him OK Boomer? Because that might work there. But,
yeah, I think we can see that. I think he had some fantastic... look at that, isn't that fantastic?
That's the one. So as you can see, it says Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriends deserve a future.
That was a good
Murray, what do you think?
I think it's a strange thing. I think it changes as you get older as well. If you're kind of 16, 17... 1 or 2 years can seem like a huge gap. But actually, when you're kind of over your 40s, kind of 5, 10, 15 years becomes less of an issue. But it is fascinating. We're always interested in celebrity culture, celebrity relationships and what they're getting up to. And because it's a kind of glamorous world we all want to be part of, or certainly want to be nosy and find out about it. But it is interesting how people view the differences in that. Because, Keanu Reeves' partner's only... How much?
I think it's 9 years. 9 years.
Some people would say that's quite a lot. But actually, if you love a person, if you're dating someone, if you're friends with someone, who cares?
And I think perhaps the fact that she had grey hair, did that make a difference? Do you think
she
that's why?
Amazing.
Visually, I think that's why.
Is it terrible that I thought she looked older than him? I thought it was the other way around.
That's his luxurious black hair.
He's astonishingly looks younger, I think, than his years.
He's aged very, very
for men.
We're all as one on that one, yes. I think.
Right. Well, I think we'll leave it there.
That's it from tonight. Thank you for joining us. You can tune in for the 7 tomorrow, and Rebecca and James will be back with the 9 on Monday.
But from Fiona and me and Laura, from Paul, from Angela, from Murray, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. you.